Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us on the show. It's great to have you with us. Really appreciate it. Hit that like, subscribe, do all those amazing things. It doesn't cost anything, but we appreciate it hugely. Say hello in the comments. Let us know what you think as we're sharing the news and sharing our thoughts on those topics. So let's dive straight into it, Will. What new AI story do we have for our wonderful community, you guys out there?
I think this is going to be one of the gateway stories. On the surface, it's semi-interesting, obviously, but I think for me, there's a bit of a deeper, thoughtful conversation to be had, and it might be a little bit early, but we'll try and stammer out some thoughts on it. So let me
always seem to have these deep conversations.
That's what AI does to you.
That's what
AI does. I know. So AI does. You can't escape it for long, you see. I mean, we can talk about product releases, we can talk about models, we can talk about the technical side of it. But ultimately, there is a much deeper side to it, which is one of the reasons why I am so passionate about it. And this is no different. At the surface, this is going to be talking about a product release. And then I think the wider impact that this kind of technology has is the real crux of it. So, sharing my screen to briefly clue you in on the article. And this is an article about Perplexity. And in case you don't know, Perplexity is an AI, an AI provider. They specialize much more in search. That's sort of their USP, search, discovery, research. They've gained a lot of popularity through releasing their AI-powered browser, Comet. Comet is very good. It automates a lot of browser tasks. I still don't like AI-powered browsers, but I've spoken about that in other videos. But this one is quite good.
I think that's briefly just worth saying why. And I think our concerns, because obviously not everyone's seen our previous videos, not everyone's going to watch our previous videos. So just for context, it's about privacy. Mm-hmm. That's our concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, privacy is a massive one. ChatGPT Atlas just came out, suffers from the same problems. And then you have Perplexity Comet, which has these issues as well. Essentially, you are granting absolute digital sovereignty, not to you, but to model provider to see all your browsing history, access all your tabs, access all your information. And suddenly, you just don't know where that is. It's just swaths and swaths of information are going to these AI providers, and you just have to trust that they're going to do the right thing with that information. So privacy is one big concern. There are some counterparties building private AI browsers, like Browser OS and things like that. But either way, I don't find them even particularly useful, to be fair, as in just AI browsers. Personal preference, don't like them that much. but privacy is obviously a big concern. And this Perplexity news story comes off the back of Comet, basically, and what they can do. And this is going to be a new assistant that can join your meetings. And, part of their offering, Perplexity's offering, is they have an email assistant, and, it jumps into your email inbox, prioritize emails, bring things to your attention, reply to emails, all that kind of stuff. But this one is going to be allowing you to join meetings and record meetings, summarize meetings, all on its own, by the way. So it's unclear whether the AI will be taking the meetings or whether it will just be there, able to join on its free will, record it, summarize it, and send it to relevant parties. But it will be able to do it on its own if you want it to. And it's a fascinating idea. And I'm sure, even if it isn't right in the beginning going to be allowing them to join and take meetings for you, that will be coming. And this is part, I think, of the wider discussion. Is these product launches are obviously cutting edge, interesting. Wow, oh my God. You couldn't imagine this 5 years ago. But I think it's also a really weird paradigm to come to terms with. For me, anyway, is whenever I scroll the internet now, whenever I'm on X or Reddit or I'm reading emails, do you know what? I think there is a greater than 50% chance that I boot up that post and it is just totally AI generated. 100% AI generated, whether it's a video or it's text, someone has copied and pasted it in. And that for me is a really weird paradigm shift that I'm having to get my head around. And this kind of thing furthers that agenda where what in the future what Perplexity's assistant's going to be joining our meetings, taking that meeting for me, and then I'm going to get the meeting notes summary. What am I going to do? I'm going to stick it through another AI to summarize it and say, what should I do next with it? Because that's what's happening. A lot of people is they are losing the cognitive ability to know what to do next even. They're going, what do I do next with this? And it's such a weird paradigm. I love AI. I'm so passionate about it. And it's got so many use cases in so many industries. But this one is one that I struggle to get my head around, is the loss potentially of human connection and the loss of human generated content and thought,
It's interesting, Will. How do I feel about it? I think
It's deep, isn't it?
I'm not too. I think there's like a scale, and at the moment, I'm very happy, and indeed I use it as well to use and consume AI content, provided it has been clear. The thought, the thinking, the originality actually has come from somebody. And the AI polishes up and makes it, puts a bit of spice and polishes it up and presents it maybe a little bit better than a human could do. But ultimately, the thinking, the strategy, it's like we've talked before about being the project manager. As long as the project manager is dictating and controlling and providing the inputs and tailoring, they are still having a creative process over the output. So I'm completely okay with that type of content creation in whatever form. So that's at that lower scale. I think what we're possibly, and what you're possibly alluding to, is a future where, we're really at the start here, but there will be a time, and you sort of touched on it, where the human has to go, well, what do I do next with it? But there'll be a time when a human won't have to even do what do I do next with it. The AI will just do it. And I think that's what you're alluding to, is a future where meetings, follow-ups, actions, tasks, output is literally could be all done by an AI or several AIs, or just talking amongst themselves without any human input at all. And then maybe some humans absorb that information. Maybe it's just other AIs that absorb that information in whatever form that is. And as a human absorbing that information, that's when you're absorbing pure AI that's had no input from a human. And is that good? Is that bad? It's wild.
That's what I think will happen. And for
that's
me, I don't know.
That's the trajectory. 100%. That's the trajectory. We're at the starting point. But all these layers, that's the whole point of the AI, is to make it more efficient. So just remove the blockage, which is often the human having to think and ponder and go, oh, what about this? It's like, well, just actually, if you wanted to get from A to B, well, the quickest way to A to B is just to go use all these AIs, and they will just figure it out and have an output, and whatever the output is. So it is the trajectory. I think things will happen, but obviously we're not there yet. And so I think AI content right now is okay, provided it has human input and thought and originality. But it's when, but it's wild. It's wild.
No, I think that would be the work trajectory, and I don't know how I feel about that either, to be honest with you. I think that the entire definition of what work means will change, and I don't think we can hope to predict what that looks like. I think maybe that's where some of the uncomfortability, like the uncomfortableness, comes from, is that actually it's a total unknown, a total black hole, if you like. In terms of like the AI, so if we're not working, so imagine a future where we're not working, or there's there's a very different definition of what that actually means. Even one of the things that I just find dystopian is, and it will only get worse, is that even the things that we do for pleasure, like when we go on the internet to browse social media platforms, and now even with the release of things like Sora 2, every 5 videos is a completely AI generated video. And I whether I want to try and get into it or not, I just have this like mental, like, oh God, I don't want to see it. I miss the rawness of actual human creation. But we've seen this time and time again. I don't think that I am alone. A lot of the time, back in the 80s and 90s, when chess was one of the first big AI takeovers that happened, and I can't like the game, but I reference this because it was one of the first AI takeovers where AIs could beat humans, the very best humans in the world at chess, and everyone thought chess was dead because it wasn't dead, or we'd be watching computers play chess against each other, but that never happened. We actually rejected it, and now actually engine use and computers in chess, are used as a training tool, but we still never lost that want to see other humans interact and play. And I think I feel a little bit the same way about AI generated content on the internet. I'm all up for using it as a tool, and I do, to help brainstorm and help put together ideas, but ultimately I end up writing the finished product myself at the very least, because whenever I see an AI generated post on X, I'm just like, I don't know, just a little part of me sinks, and maybe that's an opinion of me, an opinion that will change over time, but I think it's only going to get worse,
I think it's
when you're not doing anything yourself.
I think there's always this issue when there's significant change, and you can look back to multiple generations who will always reminisce on the old ways of doing things and how things used to be done. Because I think what will happen is the younger generations come through, they'll just be so absorbed with AI and AI content, it will be water off a duck's back. It won't be that issue because that's all they've known, that's all they've been exposed to. So I think it's a classic situation where people with different generations, different lived experiences, will push back or not like it or this or that, but as we all get older and we all die off, the new generations will just be normal, and then they'll moan about something, about how AI used to be like this and now it's like this. So I think there's going to be that part, but the inevitability is it's coming and it's growing and it's not going away, and I think that's the reality. I think going back to your other point about the whole work thing, I gave a talk on AI a few months back, and one of my points was, I think we'll start when you go into a social environment, you meet people and you go, oh, what do you do for a living? I think that conversation will stop at some point. I think it'll be more of, what do you contribute to the world, or however you want to phrase it, because we're not going to do, we're not going to be associated with work per se in terms of our identity, and that's a big challenge that I think many people will find and have when jobs start disappearing or your role changes. But I think it'll be, more the conversation be, well, as a human, what do you contribute to your family, to society, to the world? What do you do for pleasure? And I think that paradigm, that when we associate ourselves with, in that environment of, oh, I'm Ben, I do this, when you meet people for the first time, it's not going to be that. It's going to be, oh, I'm Ben, and I like to play tennis, I like to play rugby, or I like to raise money for charity. I think it's going to be a weird, and again, we're going to have that initial, don't like this is weird, but as things evolve, people, it will just be the new norm, won't it?
Very thought-provoking.
Deep.
No, I've
for a morning.
Yeah, well.
Sorry, guys.
No,
I hope you enjoyed this.
Deep.
Let us know what you think in the comments. We're like, our brain matters like go, this is weird. Yeah. This is like crazy. This world is just, literally, we're rewriting the world as we know it. And that's, anyone else in this space who's involved in software development, there's an opportunity for all of us to hopefully shape it in positive ways. So it is a wild conversation and unbelievable in many ways. But I think it's important to have because it helps shapes our thinking.
Yeah, no, it is we must have these conversations, and it is a very deep conversation. Most people, no one can answer because we actually don't know. But I do think one of the biggest discussions, arguments, thought-provoking exercises we should be talking about is human connection and human purpose. Those are two very important things to people, even if you don't consciously think about it, your unconscious and your being is powered by these things. You know, humans need the connection of other people to develop, to learn, to be happy. We're so deeply wired to be interested and care about other people. It's just innate in us. You can't remove it. Or maybe we will evolve to have it removed, but at the moment we can't. And the second thing is how human beings derive purpose. And that is something we must also keep on top of, because I don't walk into a room and talk about my work and my pleasure because they're one and the same things. But if those are removed, you know, I'm Will and I run is not a satisfying answer to what my contribution to the world is. So we need to really think about those two things as these technology develops, to make sure that, you know, humans remain happy and productive, and the technology actually complements us. It doesn't necessarily take away what it actually means to be us. So yeah, it's a bit fucking deep, Ben. But no, I do. I mean, I think those two things, human emotion and human purpose, they're innate in us. You can't take them away. And making sure that that's why I think a lot of this feels off to so many people is that it directly threatens those two things as we know it. And to be honest with you, I don't really have an answer to how we cure it. You know, just accepting like the internet's going to become dead and it's all going to be robots is not a satisfying answer to me. And I think the argument about work runs a lot deeper as well.
Wow. On that thought-provoking, wild.
Should we go and get breakfast, Ben?
Journey.
I'm tired already.
I know. Should we forget breakfast? I need a pint. On that thought-provoking, heavy chat, I hope it wasn't too heavy for you guys. Hope you got some value out of it. Let us know what you think. I mean, literally, we are literally living through a revolution of sorts. Yeah. Wild time to be alive. So, you know, on a positive note, you know, this doesn't happen every day. So it makes life exciting.
It is
it's not boring.
It is not boring. No, it's a very positive technology. Again, it's why I love it, is because actually this is not just about talking about a product release. AI runs to the deepest parts of us. And it's the first time a technology has really done that. And that is fascinating. And it is a net positive in so many ways for humanity. It's just we really got to watch the negatives as well for so many reasons.
It's interesting, but although this is an AI news show, it's more of a AI news with philosophical debate at the deepest
I've
level.
always wanted to be a philosopher. I've always thought I'm cut out to be a philosopher. But
I even struggle to say the word joking. Philosopher. It's, you know, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Well, listen.
I think we'll be remembered as the next Plato and Socrates having chats on YouTube.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Guys, listen, really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with us. Let us know what you think, and we'll continue to bring you the AI news and occasionally get a little bit deep on it as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Keep tuned in, and big love. Take care, guys.
Cheers, guys.